Welcome back to Rod's Radios. On the bench today I have a very special radio. It's a Telefunken model Opus 8 and it dates back to 1957. I've downloaded the service sheet for it and I can tell you by looking at it, it has 9 valves in it, so this was a big radio. Physically it's big, it's about 68 centimeters wide. I don't know how high it is, but you can nearly see from the scale on the bench here how big it is. It would have been one of the top end radios available in Germany, certainly from Telefunken at that stage, because it's quite extensive in what it has on the front. I haven't switched it on yet, so I don't know whether it works, but this could be an interesting project. It certainly needs a little bit of fettling. I can see from here it's a little bit shabby, but that's not surprising. It's had a lot of mileage. So I think this could possibly be part one of an unknown series of videos on this particular radio. I'm really looking forward to it because it's a fine example of engineering at the time. So let's have a closer look at the front. Working from left to right, we have, of course, the volume control over on the left-hand side. And behind that, a control that is listed as ferrite antenna. And this, I think, operates the ferrite rod aerial in the back of the radio by moving it in a circular motion to get the best reception on the AM bands. Then next we have the Magic Eye. Now the Magic Eye indicates that this certainly was one of the higher end radios in the lineup from Telefunken. The cheaper ones didn't bother with this because of course there was extra cost involved. Then we have the bass control here, and then working along the push buttons, the piano buttons along the front here, we have aus, off, plat for the pickup on the record player that might be connected into this, Tonband for a possible tape recorder, Lang long wave, Bandbreite bandwidth, and again another indication that this was certainly a top end radio in that you could adjust the bandwidth of the AM reception. The next button was Mittel for medium wave, Kurz for short wave, and UKW for FM. And then along the front we have presets for tone controls, again an indication of a higher end radio. And they're listed as intimate, bass, orchestra, jazz and solo, whatever they mean. Then on the right hand side we have the treble control, and finally of course the tuning control. Now I can see that the AM tuning control doesn't have any indicator going up and down the band, so maybe the dial drive is broken in this radio. However, the one behind it for FM, I can just see the evidence of a needle going up and down for the FM band. Other than that, the state of the cabinet is in a poor condition. It's reasonably smooth, although there's a lot of paint spatters, scratches and marks on it, but nothing very deep. However, the lacquer itself has gone a kind of a yellowy colour. You can see it here on the edge, and it's also particularly crazed. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to attack that. Maybe I'll sand it down and revarnish it. The cloth on the front is in pretty good condition, and now it's a little bit wrinkled, but maybe we can fix that as well. But other than that, this proves to be a very interesting project. So stand by while I take the back off and see what lurks inside. The back panel is in reasonable condition, a little bit scruffy, but that doesn't matter. So let's get it off. Whoa! And look, an envelope on the back, an empty envelope, nothing in it. However, look what we find inside here. Aha! What is this? Circuit diagram, an original circuit diagram. That's nice. So, what do we see? Plenty of spider webs, that's for sure. What else? Loads of loudspeakers. There are 6 loudspeakers in this. 2 big, looks like 8-inch by 6-inch speakers. 2 probably mid-range speakers on either side. And then finally 2 tweeters, electrostatic tweeters underneath here. And then we have all the lineup of valves are intact. They all seem to be there. ferrite rod aerial, smoothing capacitor which looks a bit leaky. That's going to need to be changed. A lot of dust and dirt, but that doesn't really matter. This is the FM tuner in here, inside a can. 2 IF stages, IF valves, detector valve, and 2 audio output valves. So this is what's called a push-pull audio stage. Again, an indication of a high-end radio. Fine big transformer. And just on initial viewing of this, it looks like everything is there. So the signs are good for this radio if the transformer isn't faulty, but hopefully not. Maybe we'll have a look underside and see what is underneath. And this could be an indication of whether there's been any work done on this radio throughout its life. And underneath, it looks like reasonably virgin territory in that I can't see evidence of anything being changed. One capacitor up here. This looks like a new one hanging in midair, and maybe this is to replace the one that I saw on top that was leaky. But other than that, very much the original lineup of components. No sign of any work done apart from that. So that's a good sign. So maybe it's time to see if this radio actually works. Now I'll switch it on via the dim bulb that I have up here, because I'm not taking any chances just in case there's something wrong with it. So let's see what happens. Oh, that's not so good. The dim bulb is lighting up too brightly. No sign of a pilot bulb coming on. And it's drawing 180 milliamps. Well, maybe that's not too bad. The dim bulb is showing a much lower voltage, of course, 123 volts. So maybe I'll just leave it on for a while. The dim bulb is going dimmer, so this could mean that the capacitors are reforming. I don't know how long it is since this was switched on, so goodness knows the condition of the electrolytics. So maybe I'll leave it on for a few minutes and come back. Well, I've left it on for a few minutes and the dim bulb has settled down somewhat. I did have a look in the back and the valves are heating up and the pilot lights are on, although you can't quite see them from the front here, they're very dim. So maybe it's time to switch on full power and see what happens. Full power is on, I can see the dial bulbs lit. Have we any sound? We do have hum, but don't forget I'm on the radio. I'm on the turntable selection. Medium wave, nothing. Long wave, yeah. There is sound coming through, but don't forget the dial drive probably doesn't work on this, so I can't tune into any station. Not that there is anything on long wave anymore. Let's try FM. We've got sound. It distorted.
Let's come on and tune it.
This is at full volume, so the sound level is way below its normal level. However, don't forget I've no aerial plugged into the back of this, so maybe it should be better when I stick a wire into the back.
From Bensonville, that is sorry.
So this is all good news. The radio is working in a fashion. However, it does need some fettling, I'm sure. For instance, I will replace all the capacitors in it, because particularly the electrolytics and the paper capacitors, as I'm sure these are well leaky, worn out and tired. So that's it for now, I think. I'll stop this video at this stage. And when you join me in the next one, I'll start tackling the electronics, take the chassis out, give it a good cleaning, or as much as possible, and start doing the recapping. So if you're interested in this sort of thing, why don't you join me in the next episode to see what happens?